Oh, it's too early. Okay. 3:30.
Zoom recording. So, hi everybody. Welcome to the Staten Island Hungry Task Force meeting today. What I'd like people to do, insofar as they can, is put your name and affiliation in the chat as a way of introducing yourself to everybody. This is being recorded, and the recording will be available later with meeting notes. And I'd like to start with Erica and the Verizon project. Erica?
All right, perfect. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. As Susan mentioned, my name is Erica Ray, as I am here on behalf of Verizon, just to share some amazing news with the community in Staten Island. I'm actually the client executive for all of Staten Island, where basically I work with multi-dwelling units with property management, leasing agents, as well as other partners to share Verizon news and what we have going on. Verizon actually participates with the Affordability Communication Act. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with it. Susan, I'm not sure if I have the ability, but I would love to share my screen so I can share the website with everyone. And that way they can see exactly what I'm referring to, if that's okay with you.
Sure. Do you see a share option there?
Yep, got it. All right. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So let me just bring up the affordability. So it's basically a program that's provided by the FCC, the Affordable Connectivity Program. It's a U.S. program that applies to low-income households, and it basically essentially could qualify someone to get free internet, and Verizon is actually a proud partner with them. So it's something that's very simple to do. The majority of households qualify and they may not be aware. So there's certain things that they would just need to fill out and see if they qualify for. If you're receiving federal assistance, if you're below the 20% poverty line, if you receive benefits like SNAP, Social Security, Medicaid, it's a whole bunch, and you also can qualify based on other criteria that's all detailed on the affordability website. It's a simple process to do. So even if you go right here, it lets you know check to qualify. So it gives you all the different criterias. And once you click on this apply now, it actually directs you to the direct website where you can apply. Applying takes less than 5 minutes. All they need to do is input their information. It would be their name, some personal information, and what benefit they qualify. If the person in the household is eligible, what they do is they get a code, and that code enables them to call and place an order with any provider that they would like, by basically just letting them know I went in and applied for the Affordability Connectivity Act and I qualify. We then go ahead and process an order for you to get internet. With you being approved, as I showed a little bit, you get up to $30 off a month on discounted internet. And if you're on tribal lands, it is a little bit more. And there's other benefits of this connectivity. A lot of consumers already have what's called our Lifeline program that gives you a discounted rate on phone service. If you actually are a Lifeline customer, you automatically also qualify for this discount through the FCC. So it's definitely something I reached out to Susan to share, because it's something that some of the community in Staten Island may not be aware of. So, the more that we know, the better we can share. This is a great service that would help people that maybe want to get internet and were unaware of this. So that's why I asked Susan to allow me to share this information, and we're here to, provide any support. I asked Susan and I sent her the information. It's basically collateral, which shares more on Verizon, and if anyone's interested, it has the contact information. I'm also gonna send her my personal email and phone number, so if anyone is interested in more or just wants me to come and speak also to the community, if you have any events or anything like that, I will be more than happy to go help you guys volunteer as well, and spread the word so that we can make sure that Staten Island is aware that there is something out there for them.
That's great. I don't remember if you sent something that like a flyer that people could print out
Yes, I will send you an attachment again. And what I'll do is I'll also put this website and all other pertinent information. So that way you put it all in one email and you can just forward it to everyone that's on a call and they can share accordingly.
Perfect. And then we can also put it on the resources page on the Hungry Task Force website.
Perfect. Amazing. Does anyone have any questions for me while I'm on here? If none at all, I'm a phone call away and you'll have all my information. I definitely want to thank you, Susan, and you guys for allowing me to come in and share this information. And I'm excited to make a difference in Staten Island with you guys however we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of
Thank you,
course.
Erica.
No
This is
problem.
great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, I'll share it real quick.
Perfect. Great. So the next persons on the agenda is the New York Community League, which helps underrepresented Chinese communities in Staten Island to not only survive but thrive.
Here I am, Tianchi
Okay.
Robbie. Hi, hi, Susan.
Hi.
All right, thank you so much for inviting me here. May I share? Do I have permission to share my screen? I think
Yes.
I do. Okay, great. So, yeah, I wasn't expecting myself to do a really formal presentation, so I just made it like 15 or half an hour ago. So just a brief introduction for those who do not know us. I see many familiar faces, like many of you. We have co-work partner before. So New York Community League, as Susan introduced us, we are a nonprofit mostly serving the immigrant Chinese community not to survive but also thrive. We have been, so these are some highlights of what we do. We're a volunteer-based nonprofit or grassroots that provides these services. And since we're completely volunteer-based, which means none of us are paid, and we have a very limited budget. We do raise some funds to pay our contractors sometimes, but most of these, like 90% of services are done by volunteers like us. And we have been doing this adult and literacy program for a while. And it's well received in the community, and we also offer free community health and fitness programs, like the new soccer program we're launching, and it's been halfway through. And it's for children, and we also offer services for seniors such as Tai Chi, and we offered a few mobile pantry where we get some vegetables and fruits from private sources. But unfortunately, we were not able to keep a hold of the same source every time, so it's currently been paused. If other community partners are able to donate some food so that we can continue the mobile food pantry, that would be so much appreciated. And we're working with NYC Food Bank to help people to enroll SNAP for free, and also working with New York State of Health to help with marketplace enrollment. We're also doing civic education, voter registration, and a lot more. Most of our materials can be found on our website. That is, let's see, where is my screen instead. So our website is gonycl.org. It's a bilingual website. It has Chinese and English, and I'm running a Chinese language blog here, even though we're moving a lot of stuff to our WeChat official account because we're serving mostly the Chinese speaking population. There are a few snapshots that we're doing. We're not updating this on a daily basis because all of us are volunteers. But other than what we're doing in NICO, I also want to share a little bit about the Asian population, the demographics on Staten Island. So my personal background, for those of you who have worked with me, I used to work for the Census Bureau. And this is one of the reasons I'm co-founding this organization with many of my peers, that we want to contribute our free time to do the volunteer work, is that the Asian population on Staten Island has been growing so fast, especially the Chinese American population. So here I'm pulling out this database from the Census Bureau. This is not from the 2020 census, but this is from ACS 5-year estimate that was collected also in the year of 2020. If you see the population of Asian American alone here, here's the statistics. I downloaded it just let you to see. What we usually know is like Staten Island has many like Asian Americans, such as South Asian, like we have a little Sri Lanka. But recent years, like a lot of demographic changes are taking place, especially Chinese American population. It almost doubled. Well, it actually more than doubled compared to 5 years ago. I don't have that much time to pull out the data from 5 years ago because my computer is pretty slow. But you see currently the Chinese American population almost contribute to half of the Asian American population. And for Chinese, there are Mandarin, Fuzhounese, Cantonese speakers, and our community is addressing all these dialects. Our organization is addressing all these dialects, and we also have a Burmese speaker to cater the need of the Burmese community if ever needed. And I'm also, if I have a little more time, I would also like to show a map of the Asian population distribution in Staten Island. So here is the map. So this is from the census, from the official Census Bureau website. We see the distribution of the Asian American community, mostly Rosebank, New Springville, and it's growing on the East Shore too. If you see from this website, we can see the changes of different years, and you see the East Shore is growing, and we can change a variable to see the different detailed Asian. As you can see, especially the Chinese population, it's been shifting southward. Before it's more, the population density is more to the Verrazano, near the Verrazano Bridge, but it's gradually shifting eastward. It's been shifting to Mid Island as well as Midland Beach area. So I believe for future like food pantry ideas in the Asian American community, I think to address the hunger there, because we often see a lot of new recent landed people that fresh off the boat, like seniors. A lot of them are, if you have noticed, a lot of them are going out onto the street to pick the trash because they don't have pension back in China and they are not qualified for SSI here. So I think it's a good idea to address what they to address their problems as new immigrants here, and knowing about their distribution and their demographics it will be really helpful. I'm not sure whether my scattered presentation would help other people to brainstorm more ideas, but I am more than happy to answer any questions if am able to answer them. Thank you, Susan, and everyone.
Yeah, let's hold on to questions for a little bit. This is very interesting information. At 22,600, that's about 5% of the total population of Staten Island. Staten Island is 450,000. So
and this is Asian alone. I'm not even counting the half Asians and the 1/4 Asians. These are all Asian alone population.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is an estimate. So the 2020 census, the exact data, the counting, the one that counts everyone, not leaving anyone alone, is going to be released. The detailed Asian statistics is going to be released next year, 2023, in the summer. As of now, we can only see the Asian in general population, not yet divided in details. But it's really helpful to know like the specific Asians so that we know the language, at least we know a general idea of the language they're speaking to better address their problems. Because for Chinese Americans, for example, East Asians, they might have similar food needs. The Koreans and Chinese may share similar food need, but like Asian Indians, Pakistanis, and Sri Lankans, they might share another completely different set of food need.
Right.
Compared to East Asians. So it's really helpful to have the detailed Asian categories.
Thank you. That's really
Thank you.
helpful. We're going to come back to you. UA3.
Hi,
Uh,
I'm Hong,
hi.
and this is Chi Look. I'm President and Executive Director. I guess in a quick summary, we've been around since 2015, but we really went from digital divide to pantry since the very beginning of, uh, of COVID. And we secured food really from about $3.5 million from Trader Joe's uh, before the food and city and federal government foods came in. Total, we've done about dollars in food and about another $10 million in PPEs throughout New York City. We basically, when the trucks started coming in, we bought the heavy equipment to unload the tractor trailers. And then we had such a great model of being able to unload food and get the quantity in. We started working in Brownsville, which is a Black community, South Bronx, Sunset Park, Jamaica, Elmhurst, several East Harlem, many other sites. That's how our numbers got up so high. We were efficient in working with local communities, local beer distributor, hardware, whoever had the heavy equipment, and the elected officials. So we've bridged a lot of communities together, both Black, white, Hispanic communities, and we continue to do that. I would encourage some of your CBOs, if you're interested in tuning into our communication lines, we have about 130 CBOs that are in sync on our communications on a regular basis. So, and we work together beyond food. So, for example, in Brownsville, there's a group called Wrongfully Convicted, and another culinary school in Brownsville. And they come up and they get our supplies from our pantry so that they can teach and cook some necessary skills to the young. We also we hired young kids at risk from New York, from East New York. They worked at our pantry, a paid internship for about 3 months, and we connected them with Carnegie Hall for the Arts, and with professional muralists, they painted a beautiful mural on the side of our building. I think for all this hate crimes and anti-hate, I think what we really need to be doing is bridging communities. And that's a lot of what we do. That's a lot of what we do. Now, we do have funds and we do buy specialty foods, both for the Asian communities, as well as the Bangladesh, the Indian communities we deal with, the Black communities and Hispanic communities. So we do have some funds for that. I guess we're physically, our main headquarters is located in Council Member District 1. Council Member District 2, they asked us to help us. I mean, a big part of our format is that, listen, the night shift buildings ask us in other areas to help out with food since we do it on large scale. And now we've learned that, listen, get your elected officials, get your council members to call us, get us in tune with us, because we found it's a lot easier to get food on a larger scale dedicated to your area once your elected officials are in tune. Because once we start doing it without them, they really don't want to hear about it. Just keep on bringing food on in. So that seems to be a better working recipe for us. When we first started, we were totally a volunteer base. Now we do hire, we have full-time staff working with us and a lot of part-time, but a huge volunteer base. At our location, probably 100 volunteers, but citywide, probably about 1,000 volunteers of all nationalities, all colors, and all religions. We get our organizations to work together. So some of the Black communities will deliver off to the Spanish or the Indian community, vice versa. We do a lot of activities together. That's, I think, how we could best address anti-hate. As far as, I would, again, encourage people who have CBOs to join our CBO 100s. We have about 130 base organizations that work with us on a regular basis. We just had a tractor trailer load of Girl Scout cookies. Previous years, it was 2 tractor trailer loads. And we do special events, like we unloaded at night shift buildings and they all come out, but there's enough cookies there during those special events for people from South Bronx, from Brownsville, and from Jamaica. We really haven't linked into Staten Island because of some of the logistics, but certainly if you will, I welcome it. A senator from state senator from Senator Colton knows how much work we've done in Brooklyn, even though we're based in Manhattan. And he's offered us to buy us a capital truck so to help continue increase our volume to Brooklyn, because it's all logistics. We've done this pretty much with no funds from, or very little funds, less than 5,000 net funds from the government. Pretty much it's all been corporate work. But people like CeeLo Green, we've done concerts for us. And pretty much how we survived is really through corporate grants. People like Senator Schumer, who's opened the door to us to get federal food in the past. That helped us out. But I would like to open the door to Staten Island. That's the last remaining borough we have not really gotten into big time. Small time, yes, but not in any sizable way. Question is how to do it. Now, another that you raised earlier was why is there such a big line of Asians that have exploded? And I guess earlier you mentioned that you see these a lot of Asians picking through garbage cans, picking huge bags of bottles to return. But actually, I see Asians foraging through empty lots, looking for edible weeds. You know, and I don't know if the soil is contaminated or not, but you do what you got to do to survive. Our lines actually, since COVID ended, she is the one who's the man on the front lines. But we've seen our lines grow. We serve about 1,000 people per day, about 2,000 per week at this location. Citywide, when we're at full capacity, we serve about 7,000 people a week. When we're at full capacity. Right now, we're not at full capacity. It depends on how much food we get in. Reason why you're seeing a huge Asian or Chinese population is because our thinking is that it takes at least 2 to 3 minimum, maybe longer, for an Asian and Indians and some other groups, Mexicans. It takes longer to get a green card. And then once you get a green card, it's another 5-year bar before you can get SNAP dollars or any government, a lot of those government assisted funds. So that means if you get your families to arrive here from one of these countries that have a little slower rate, it's a minimum of 8+ years before you can get any subsidies or government funding. That means you don't get SNAP dollars, you don't get government rebates or refunds, you don't get housing support. All those kind of nice little things don't come in. So this is a population that works in grocery stores or minimum wage type of jobs. Some of them are undocumented, which is even a more serious problem. And when COVID hit, they lost their jobs, their minimum wage paying jobs. They had no way to pay rent. There's no rental assistance that they can apply for. So on top of that, you got to understand the Asian culture. Asian culture, the Chinese probably have the highest suicide rate. Don't probably do. They definitely do have the highest suicide rate. I mean, my daughter's classmates have committed suicide in their middle school. So I've seen it. I've known some of these kids, and you also have to realize different communities and different cultures handle stress in a very different way. I think that Chinese culture and the Asian cultures handles it with stress and suicide. Some other cultures handle it with outbreak and violence. It's just different communities, different understandings of how different people handle it. Some other groups handle it with drugs. So we have a serious problem ahead of us. Stress, rental loss, not unable to pay rent, being evicted, and the evictions are coming up big time in the next year. I see a huge problem with depression coming up in New York City and across the country. I think you'll see suicide rates going up amongst the Asians. I think you'll see more violence across the country. We're in a serious problem. And, Chi and I and the rest of our team are working on, and we'll work with you as well, try to resolve some of those issues. But bridging cultures, training kids in school to have sensitivity and understanding of different cultures and background and history, I think will help. But that's pretty much what we do. Chi, did you have, sorry, I didn't mean to take up everything. Did you have something you wanted to mention about UA3?
Well, due to the pandemic, we saw the needs when the grocery store shut down, when the elderly not able to secure their food because the home attendants are not there. So we established the first food pantry in Chinatown, and we're able to relocate to a more affordable space in Lower East Side. So from there on, it's all history. So from serving 250 bags a week to, at the height of the pandemic, 7,000 food boxes and bags.
Oh.
Now we are operating 2 days a week, serving about 2,000 per week, just alone at the Lower East Side.
And we do stuff to have special events, like we just shipped out baby formula to Jamaica, to the Harding Ford group, which is basically a pantry out in Jamaica, Queens. And we still continue that network and relationship with our other pantries.
Thank you. And let's come back to you too. Tim Tan, you're working with different groups on Staten Island. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing?
Oh, yes. Thanks for your introduction. I'm Tim. I work for Project Hospitality as a volunteer. I almost work 10 times for pantry service every week. I also talk to a lot of Chinese senior people in this community. Most of senior people are older people. They usually live with their children because we have to write down the family information when those people get the food packs. So those senior people almost live with their children. So according to Chinese cultures, some of the senior people usually take care of their grandson, granddaughter to help their children. So another group of Chinese people is the family woman. I see as a group of family women want to get the food every time. I almost didn't see any single woman or single male to come to our pantry service. Some senior people talk to me, they just move to this place, move to Staten Island, not quite for a long time. They just move from other area. For example, they just move from Brooklyn to this island They most want to look for some security environment and a resident house. And another situation, I usually talk to the senior people. These senior people want to pick up food packs every time. They want to pick up food equally. Sometimes they see other people pick up different food, they feel angry. That means they just want to pick the same food packs every time. When I talk to them, they just tell me they sometimes feel angry because there are different group of people picked up different food boxes or food packages.
Oh,
okay, let me continue. So how can we communicate better with those Asian people? I think we should talk to them with the local language. I know about Chinese language, Mandarin and Cantonese. Those senior people almost know the Mandarin and the Cantonese. So I talk to them, I understand the language. So what food the Asian client want to pick up? Those senior people always like to pick up more fruit, fresh fruit, milk, and some of the nut, the pistachio, such as things, and more fruit, more beta. So if I talk to those senior people, they tell me everything they want to pick up. One situation I want to describe more. Those senior people also tell me only some of those senior people usually pick up food bags for 1 time or 2 times in each service. This is not right, but those Chinese people want to keep the order. They like to keep the order. They like to keep the rules of the pantry service. Only very small group of people disobey the rules, but other senior people, they don't like this. They don't like the other people to break the rules. So they sometimes feel angry about these things, and the senior people tell me should keep pay attention to those people who break the rules. So I know about this situation. I give feedback to our project hospitality office. Perhaps we can do more service for more people. Finally, if we provide more food box for everyone, they feel more happy and feel more equally.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
That's very helpful.
That's what. That's it.
Okay. So what questions do people have? Kathy Carlson, I know that you've had you've been surprised by lots of Chinese people coming to your pantry.
So what we did one Saturday is we had a deacon from one of the other churches come who spoke Mandarin and Cantonese to speak to the guests that were coming through as to whether or not they were satisfied with the type of products they were getting. And they were just pretty much happy with just receiving things. And similar to what Tim was saying, they like everything to be equal. So if we're all getting something, they just wanted everything kind of to be smooth and equal. So they said they were satisfied with the type of products they're giving, but I think most people tend not to complain about what's in their food packaging. We try to give fresh produce as much as possible, but we tend not to have fruit. So perhaps we'll add some fruit to our distribution.
Great. Don and then Cindy.
Don,
Good.
so what happened? Two questions. There was I get my hats off to everybody who does the pantry, because there is a lot of frustration, anger, and you'll fight on the lines. Pantry did a couple of different things. You have time schedules when time to come in, they get notices. But I'll be honest with you, Chinese will wait 5 hours. Or if they know we have a special truck coming in, they'll be there 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, waiting for a 1 o'clock distribution. Non-Asians normally will not wait in line, and they get pissed off when they see a block long line to pick up some food. So when we do special events at NYCHA buildings, we work it so that we give tickets ahead of time to the NYCHA Tenant Association. So they have a distribution of, let's say 500 tickets. And then as the Asian lines get long, we'll distribute another 500 tickets to them as well. And then they all get into one line and we process it fairly quickly. That's one thing. The other problem that we see is there's a lot of Asians that won't sign up and won't put their names down. And that's significant. The numbers are, I think she was saying something like as much as 400 people, 300 people per day. They'd rather wait in line to the very end and then finally get whatever's left over. And I believe that's the case. You know, we were talking about it. That's because Homeland Security and ICE, and we've seen families that were, you know, once you give your address, they have an address or a number where families were, ICE knocked on their door and they were deported within the next few days, sometimes leaving the wife and the children or the children alone without their parents, and the parents get deported back to their home country. So there is a fear amongst the Chinese community for signing up, and it's a significant number. I just wanted to mention that. Thanks.
Yeah, that's important. Cindy, what about you?
Mike, when we are fortunate occasionally to have translators, which it makes a huge difference, but I'm wondering if anyone else has noticed, it seems, and Luann, correct me if I get this wrong, but it seems that periodically there are buses that bring a busload of Asian people to the pantry on a Saturday morning. They're there for a period of time and then they all get on the bus and go back to Brooklyn. So I'm wondering if anyone else has seen this influx.
Trinity Lutheran Feeding program on Saturdays, they have that experience where a busload of
That's where I'm from.
Oh, okay,
That's
sorry. Yes.
Anybody have?
Nobody else? Nobody else?
You know,
Reverse experience. I and then not in the Asian community, but I have seen in other ethnic communities, people going to Brooklyn to get their food, like by bus or not like a big bus, but you know, the vans going over the bridge and getting food in Borough Park, for example, or Bensonhurst, and then coming back over to Staten Island. So I've seen the reversal.
Hmm.
we work with Trinity Church Wall Street here in Lower Manhattan. And they have a great program where they feed breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as they have a call-in center. And they refer all their Chinese speaking or Asian speaking clients to us for us to translate. So they simply give us the phone number. We have translators that call them back to find out what the issue is. And then about 90% of the questions are all about, they provide a wide view of our services, but 90% of the questions that are coming in for the Asian is all about food. And we do refer them down there, and they have a great breakfast, lunch, and dinner program. And if there is another organization that has that, work with either your local group or arrange something to have a translator to pick up that phone call to be able to send them down to places that have, you know, churches or mosques that have food service where they can get something to eat. I think
That's very interesting. Terry, you had a question.
Oh, yes. Tim, can you talk about what people's questions are about food stamps, about what is the reservation above and beyond the immigration issue? What are some of the other questions that the immigrants you're working with have about food stamps?
Oh, yes. Some senior people usually ask some question when I talk to them. When they want to get more benefit, they worry about something, so they ask me questions. One question is, how can those benefits affect the tax report? Another question is how these benefits affect the immigration status update. Yeah, they want to get more benefit, but they worry about those two questions.
Thank you.
Ms. Yang, would you talk a little bit more about your map, basically, the east side of Staten Island? It's an area where there are very few food pantries so far. Are people how are they finding food? Do you know?
Yeah, so actually I wanted to, like, when I see Chris's question, can I address his question like before talking about this? So I see that he's asking, Chris Dowling is asking, is it fear for immigration status? And since they don't get that much resistance for filling out their addresses. Generally speaking, I was also toggling through the census data, the Census Bureau data. But what I remember, I haven't found that specific data yet, but from what I remember, like Staten Island has for the Asian American population, it has a higher percentage of citizens, naturalized citizens, which means like it's less likely to have, like, Staten Island compared to other boroughs. Like the more Asian Americans have the proper immigration documentation, and that is probably why there's a difference between what Don has shared in Chinatown versus here in Staten Island. So yes, what I experienced is that on the East Shore there are fewer food pantries, but there are a few. When I was looking into the Facebook page of the Staten Island Community Calendar, I do see a few food pantries, I think by several churches. And some of the residents, that some of the community members, the constituents that I personally know, they also ride the buses towards some of the food pantries on the North Shore. And particularly, I referred several of them to a food pantry called, her name's Wendy Deschamps, but I don't recall immediately.
New Directions. New Directions.
Yes, exactly. I referred many of the Asian Americans to there because at least Port Richmond has some bus lines there, especially a lot of them live nearby the bus stations. So yeah, so these are most of the Staten Island Chinese American or generally Asian American community would rely on either their private transportations or the public transportations to commute to different places. Because Staten Island, I mean, geographically, it's pretty big, even though our population is not that much. So I guess people are already used to it. That's why I mean, on my blog, as I forgot to say on our NICO website, I've been trying to educate the new Staten Islanders of the Staten Island basics. So my blog's name is actually Staten Island Encyclopedia for the Chinese Americans, sharing them about the transportation methods, like including the way to get into Manhattan, the new ferry routes, the existing I mean buses, express buses, the proposed like transportation plans. I tried to educate everyone about all aspects, about the demographics, about the transportation, about the schools, the charter school options, etc. And about I plan to write another one about the food pantry too. So but I haven't collected all of them because it's hard to be comprehensive, basically. So yeah, so to answer your question, yes, I think it will be meaningful for some mobile food pantries in Mid Island, especially New Springville area, where this is the most it has the heaviest Asian American density, not only Chinese Americans but also Korean Americans, and in some surrounding area like Willowbrook, the the South Asians. Yeah, so these are all the areas to consider, as well as the East Shore that is growing.
Okay, thank you. Cindy and Luann, it might be worthwhile when the bus shows up to send somebody down there to ask more about what they're doing. You know, where are they coming from, and you know, if it's a model that works, maybe it can work for other groups too, because transportation is always a problem.
I think primarily the translator issue.
Yes. They can't speak any English.
Okay.
Yeah, from this perspective, Wendy, Deshawn, she called me I think for a period of time, she called me every week because there are other translation problems. So because of the personal connection, and she used to have a volunteer, but for a while she didn't. I think sometimes it's hard to get a hold of a volunteer who can do that. But actually, NICO, we can send volunteers to help if any one of you would need help. We do have a pool of volunteers who are willing to help on these kind of issues. And actually, for Chris, I referred to one of my volunteer to be a part-time community ambassador there, and I think it worked pretty well.
How can we reach you?
So let me leave my email address here. So thank you so much.
You know what works is if you have a dedicated person who will receive an online call, so they don't physically have to be at the site. That's what we do for Trinity Church. And what happens is they're on call. So this way a volunteer could be doing what they do. They receive the call. Whoever's at the pantry location just has their number and they can translate on the spot. That's how we've done it with Trinity Church.
Doreen, I don't know if you're listening. Doreen and Jackie work at with City Harvest at the mobile markets, working with the Chinese community, which was always very helpful because they could resolve questions, you know, as they came up. I don't know if you want to add anything, Doreen. Terry, did you have another question? Terry? Oh, I guess not.
There,
Okay.
hi, there, okay, sorry. So we have seen particularly the Chinese population, senior citizens, manifest in West Brighton, Stapleton, Dungan Hills, Ocean Breeze, Great Kills, and just recently, and in what's it called? Heartland Village. So we're thinking about, I mean, there's, I think part of what we need, at least from Project Hospitality's perspective, is we're dragging Tim everywhere, and we just hired another person that speaks Mandarin and Cantonese both, to figure out what food should we be ordering that is most helpful. Like hearing the need for fruit is helpful, and instead of like creating boutique pantries, creating at Ortora, for example, a kosher package for people that have kosher observance, and a special package that would be attractive to Asian populations, and kind of catering to the needs of those populations. So it's great to hear that, you know, people want nuts. We get lots of nuts. Not all populations want nuts. For me, I am nuts, but you know what I'm saying? This is the stuff that we need to learn. Is we need to learn not only the language issues and the SNAP issues, but also what foods are valued and sought after. And we can do our own bartering and trading to be sure that we have what people are looking for and need, that is culturally appropriate for their families.
Should
Hello,
we
hi.
do-
Hi,
Yeah.
my name is Bernard. I'm with Robin, ICO, and MyCL. I think like there's many different groups in this call, and it served, although it's only one borough, Staten Island, but then it actually to have many different dynamic and ethnic group in it. So I think it's more important that have Robin involved and have NICRO involved to different projects, because each project have a little bit of detail that need to be catered towards the Chinese community, and each one of them may serve a different group of maybe different age group, maybe different education level. So I think it will be encouraging all organizations to get in contact with us, NICRO, especially with Robin. And just want to point out is that how much Robin know about Staten Island. She actually did a research on the public transportation for Staten Island. Just like head to tail, from north to east, from north to south, every little bit of what transportation is missing. It's lack of. So I think we can put a lot, we can bring a lot to the table. Thank you very much for this call.
Thank you, Ben. That's why I'm so flattered. Thanks. This is exaggerating it, but anyway.
You know, I think it might be useful to come up with a committee, a subcommittee, or, you know, and like try to answer some of these questions. What do people want to eat? Like Terry was saying, can we make up boxes, or, you know, come up with strategies for feeding people from Asian countries, East Asian and South Asian. Christopher, as outreach coordinator, do you think you'd be willing to like maybe set up a meeting to like just go through some of these ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great idea, because I also, a couple of things that came up to my mind while we're listening to this, and yeah, that's been a big, both a blessing and a problem for us with the influx of the Asian community to the pantries, where there's actually, we had to actually kick somebody out of the pantry just today because of derogatory remarks being made against an Asian person. And these are some, you know, some serious things that we all have to take, you know, consideration. And I'm concerned with the growth of the Asian population. Are we going to see more discrimination? And what are the pantries doing about discrimination? You know, and maybe we can do something to help in that respect too. Not sure what that means yet, but still trying to figure out some of this myself. But there's also whether or not a big question that came up, you know, about diversity and inclusion and equity is that, you know, we service certain populations in certain areas. So there's probably a big discussion that needs to also happen about what does that mean for different pantries? So are you allowing the busload of people to come in from another, borough or from another neighborhood, which then can create friction in the neighborhood you're in? Because you might be a predominantly mixed or predominantly Black neighborhood where you're servicing, and you're getting these other groups coming in, and of course you want to be fair, but what is fair then in that case? Are you now not serving the people in your area because you have a lot of influx of people coming from other areas? So these are some really difficult questions, but I think we need to address them very soon before anything more happens. I can see the ugliness rising. So I'd like to investigate all of that a little bit more.
Mhm. Actually, for what it's worth, it seems it's not just Asian groups coming by buses. We would notice at the mobile market that there would be, it's senior centers, like senior daycare. And the senior daycare sort of break into different communities. There's a Korean one, there's Chinese, there's Russian, there's Ukrainian, and they would get a bus and bring people to the food pantries as a sort of it wasn't really clear if people needed the food so much or it was sort of an entertainment issue. Let's go out for a road trip. It might be worth looking into that whole thing as a separate.
Yeah, that's interesting. We don't get too many of that, but mainly because we do it on a timed event too. So
yeah,
you have to be registered with us. And that's why I say we weren't getting a big problem in the Asian community with them signing up with us, because most of them already knew when they came to us that they were going to have to sign up. So we do have, I was trying to get her onto the call, but she had to take care of her kids today. We have a young lady, Claire, who's, of Chinese descent, who actually works with us now. I think Robin knows her. And she's been great because it's been a godsend to have a translator right there. Plus, we have another young lady who comes in who's a real estate agent. She comes and helps us every few weeks too. So, we've been able to get past this problem, but and trying to be a little more diverse with it, but also being inclusive and trying to figure out what the right thing is to do. Make sure that we're also servicing the home population. But that's what we did, was we split it up again now so that we're not servicing just the same 120 people each week. We're now doing it every other week. So we're now able to service 240 different families every month and twice a month. So there's different things that we've been able to do, and that helped us expand our reach, but also to make sure that we're hitting the right groups also. So, but I definitely want to, I'll touch base with you after the meeting, tomorrow or something, and talk about it a little bit further if you want, and how we want to set that up.
Good. So that's a plan. We'll do that afterward. We have a couple, it's 4:30, so anybody who wants to leave or needs to leave, feel free. There are a couple other things on the agenda, including a report from Chris about his outreach program, and then there's a report Kathy Carlson and I can talk about, if she's still here, the governance piece of the Hunger Task Force. We came up with a new description of what the Hunger Task Force is, and we can talk about that in a minute. But let's do Chris first.
I'm going. So thanks again, Clara. She's the new representative from A Chance at Life, who's with us on the call today, and she was instrumental in helping us get the current list up to date. So now that we have that basically done, we're going to go to phase 2 this week, where we're going to be sending out just a quick form to everybody on it to make sure we do still have all that information right. And that if there's anything else you want us to add in, then we can update it onto the website and make sure that all information is all correct, which will also help everybody, because some have gone by the wayside, some have moved, some have changed. And then we want to start looking into some of these other issues about, it was great when that just came up about the different, I think Terry brought it up about the different foods to buy. I've been trying to work with the food bank on that to kind of change up the mix a little bit because of demographics. And they're working on it slowly. That's a very, very slow process, unfortunately, but they have been adding some different things, especially in the vegan or mode or vegetarian mode. So there's been some other things added to that since we buy a lot of our food direct like that from them. But we're going to be asking some questions like that, especially, if you notice that in your area, there are specific things that people are looking for. One is we're only as good as the information that we can gather. So then the next phase, of course, would be to actually, once we upload all this information and everybody's updated, to come in and try to have some of the pantries like today talk to us more about what they're doing. So we reinvigorate this whole collective that we have going here and try to get people back involved. And then let nature take its course in a way, but to also find out where we can go with it. Can we help each other? Food sharing, resource sharing, cohort sharing for that matter too. You may have a pantry that services an area that we have people coming from. Well, now we can kind of look at that a little bit better too, once we know where you are and we have that, all of that defined better. So there's a lot going on with that. It's going to take another month or so to get it up and running fully. But I think our information then will be spot on. And we can certainly use it and publish a list of the different pantries. Because I know a couple of people I've talked to, oh yeah, we have the list, but it's kind of outdated. I'm like, there you go, exactly. So I'm sorry, Clara is writing. Yeah, so if you think that you're not on the list, let us know so that we can update your information on there right away. So we send it. So if you do not get an email from myself within the next week, consider yourself not on the list. So we will need to get your information, but absolutely. Yeah, Mike and Joe, yeah, absolutely. Send over your information and I'll have Clara contact you and update you and put you on that list now.
Gotcha.
Beautiful. So that's about it for me. It's a work in progress. We're getting there.
We ask folks to put their emails in the chat, especially new folks that are here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely do that, and I'll pull them out of the chat too, and make sure Clara sends them out to everybody. One, to just get the initial information, and then for the list with the small survey and update.
You want to put your email in there, Chief?
Huh. Okay, and also we have Don and Chi's information and Miss Yang's information because we want to do a workshop at some point. Okay, good. And then let me pull up the Hunger Task Force website has a mission statement or an about us that's fairly old. And Kathy Carlson and I and Jody Stoll worked up a new version. So we wanted to show that to you, if I can find it. Okay, this is the current version. It says about us. It's the mission of the Staten Island Hunger Task Force to advocate for the needs of food insecure families and individuals, etc. And you can see that anytime on our website. But there is also, this is the new one. Stop share there. And this is the new one. Oh, I suppose I could do the windows. Anyway, so this is the new version. And what I'll do is I'll include this in the meeting notes. But basically, when we were talking about it, we discovered that the Hunger Task Force has got, in many cases, two sides, one towards the public and one for the pantries themselves. So like looking at the food pantries getting food, where to get food today, the Hunger Task Force website helps food pantries publicize what they're doing, but it also helps people find the food pantries in their areas, obviously. I also wanted to include the line, the Staten Island Hunger Task Force is not a pantry. We get a lot of emails and phone calls asking us, do we want to accept food, or where can we volunteer? But what we instead connect community members to pantries and pantries to community and government resources. And then community advocacy, we're committed to bringing awareness to the issue of hunger in our borough. And resources, we keep pantries up to date on new community and government initiatives, and we share information at and collaborate on projects. So this is, I think, a better description of what we've actually been doing over the past 5-10 years. And unless people protest, this is probably where we're going to go with the website. So any comments, any thoughts on that? We'll share that.
Looks
Okay.
good.
Thank you. Any other thoughts? Any questions? Cindy?
Susan, we're going to talk just briefly, since we talked earlier about the active shooter and domestic terrorism available. I since then did receive something. It's going to be, and I sent it to you as well. Maybe you could send it out to everyone. June 21st, it's a Zoom at 12 noon. It started with COAD, which is the Staten Island Community Organizations Active in Disaster. And this is sponsored by World Care Center, just to make people educated into how they can prepare themselves in this day and age for the unknown. It's free, it's a Zoom, it's open to anybody and everybody. All are welcome to attend it.
I will share that. I think that would be really helpful. It's also, I don't know if everyone is aware of this, but Mary Ciccolello, who ran the soup kitchen at Trinity Lutheran, died 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And I can include this in the notes, but we can, if people want to donate to the Feeding with TLC ministry, this is the address. And Mary Haas, who was head of the food pantry at Trinity Lutheran for many years, she died this past Sunday, I believe, Sunday or Monday. Is Terry, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm here. Actually, she died Wednesday night.
Oh, okay. That's Wednesday. And so and I'll include this in the meeting notes as well. It's going to be tomorrow, right?
Yes, tomorrow.
All right. All right. Anything else? Anything else I missed? Terry, did you want to add anything?
Susan, I just wondering, I'm sorry, Ken.
No, go ahead, please.
I don't know if I introduced myself, Terry, but my name is Joe Magliacco. I'm with Mike Fazer. We had just opened a food pantry about 4 weeks ago at, it's called Jacob's Well Food Pantry. We're in Bull's Head area at Our Lady of Pity Church, right off Richmond Avenue and Victory Boulevard. So we're kind of just getting started. We're 4 weeks in. We're getting about 15 to 20 people a week at this point. We're open on Thursdays, and we just trying to get our resources together. And I just want to thank everybody for their input. And if anybody could help us out as far as getting resources from that neighborhood or different areas, we'd certainly appreciate it. And I just put my email up on the chat. So
Joe, I had dropped by Our Lady of Pity. I was there for the Holy Name Society breakfast about 4 weeks ago, and just before you opened. So
gotcha.
I talked to the priest there, and I gave him our information. You're within a couple of miles from where we are, so we're happy to drop off produce, or you can come and pick up produce.
Okay, I'm sorry, where are you from?
Project Hospitality in Port Richmond.
Okay.
What you got a phone number? Yeah, I bet you I have your phone number.
I could put it in the chat or I could give it to you. I'm at, if you have a pen ready, I'm at 347
Yep.
215 1818.
Actually, put it in the chat because
Yep.
other people will want to
sure
get in
will.
touch with you.
Oh, I got it right here. Look here, Joe. Yes,
Gotcha.
I got it.
Love to hear from you. And we're open Thursdays. I usually get there about 9, but we're officially open 10 to 12. So anybody's welcome to help with, stop by and say hello or give any input. And we're
10 to
open
12 on Thursdays, every Thursday?
Yes.
Cool.
And also take a look at, like I mentioned, take a look at the Hunger Task Force website.
Yep.
Help for Pantries. Let me just pull that up. Yeah, okay. So starting a pantry, getting food donations, getting food from restaurants, free condoms and safe sex classes, getting fresh produce from backyard gardeners, writing grants, that's Terry's excellent workshop, information about immigration and census scams, a poster, and then Chris Dowling did a wonderful survey, what clients eat at Thanksgiving. Not necessarily turkey. And I think that this would, it would be good to add to this in terms of what our Asian guests, the different Asian guests are interested in too. So we can add to that at some point. And then lots of recipes. That, if you get a food that your clients don't necessarily know what to do with, there's lots of different recipes and different kinds of recipes here. There's a handout de-escalation with dignity and reducing conflict. And then below this is the visioning projects for the Hunger Task Force for the next year or so. So that we're working on already. That's a help. Okay, anything else?
There's a lot of PPE supplies out there. If you're looking for test kits, you should probably contact your local state senator. They or assembly person, they actually have access to it, not so much your city council member.
Mhm.
If you need hand sanitizers, we've delivered over 600 pallets. There's abundance of that available. Surgical and K95 masks, they're available if you hunt for that. Certainly, we have a decent supply of it. And you don't know unless you ask.
And that's very helpful. It's very helpful information.
Did we get the email of the folks from Chinatown, UA3 Don?
It's on the chat. It's
on the chat?
Look is on there.
Yep.
Me, if you email me, I probably won't see it. So use Look. It's on there. Look@ua3now.org.
Yep, I see. Let me just repeat it. Okay. Anything else? Good.
Thank you for a great program.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susan.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
This is really great.
I'm still not seeing the Chinatown connection.
It's UA3.
You see on the chat, it says Chi.
I see it.
Okay. And then we'll follow up in the meeting notes as well.
Are we meeting over the summer?
I think that it might be helpful to do workshops over the summer. So for example, we might do a workshop on the Asian community, and then a workshop on the so it's July and August, and another grant writing workshop, Terry?
Sure.
Okay. So let's plan to do that. And if the active shooter meeting, I guess we were thinking of trying to do that as a workshop, but if that works, it exists already, we don't have to do it again. Exactly, I guess. Okay. All right. This has been a great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank
Really
you.
appreciate your
Thank you.
attention.
Thank you.